Welcome back to Journey to Novelist. This channel is devoted to new writers and those writers new to pursuing the goal of becoming a published author. This video is part of our series of videos looking at software designed specifically for writers that you can get for under $60, and that is $60 for either a year's worth of service or $60 to buy the software outright. So far, we've looked at Noveler, Novel Easy Scrivener, Outlining Your Novel Workbook, and Plot Factory as part of this year's series that is for 2024. And today we're going to go ahead and add two more softwares to that list. We're going to look at First Draft Pro, and we are going to look at Papyrus Author. Both of these do have free options available, so we are going to jump right in and take a look at these. Now, the first we're looking at is First Draft Pro. First Draft Pro is a web-based software. That is, it runs through a browser on the internet, saving all your files to a cloud-based server. There is a free personal plan, and that's what we're going to be looking at. Being browser-based, that means whether you have a PC or a Mac, the software should work just fine for you. And whenever you go to export your document from First Draft Pro, you will be exporting it through Google Drive. So if you have a Gmail account, that's probably the one you want to use when you're signing up for First Draft Pro. So let's take a quick look at the website for First Draft Pro. I have it up here, and you can see right off the bat, they give you some idea of what the software looks like on their landing page, and then they go through some information about what the software includes, research, planning, writing, editing, and then there's a link to their pricing plans, a few comments, and then a big start writing button, and all you have to do is hit that, sign up, and you basically are ready to start. So let's take a look at those pricing plans and kind of compare the free and their premium version. The premium version is $9 per month, which is outside of our $60 budget, so we're not going to pay much attention to that. We're just going to kind of compare here. For the free version, you get 3 projects. So if you're just starting and you only have a couple projects you're thinking of working on, then this will probably work fine for you. You have the ability to import and export, do some goal tracking, some chapter outlining, and here is where you see your first difference between the free and paid, besides the fact that it's only 3 projects, and that is they have a tool that has AI summarization of what you wrote to make little summaries of like your scenes, and they give you 400,000 tokens apparently for doing that summarization. The writing features include everything except for the ability to track changes and add the comments and notes. And one thing to note is whenever I was reading through some of this earlier, I did realize that whenever you go to export your document out, you get your manuscript, but you don't necessarily get the comments and notes that you include as part of your writing process. So if you like keeping those handy to kind of keep a record of how you develop your story, then First Draft Pro might not be the software you want to look at. But just keep that in mind. And then we get down into collaboration, and you'll see that it is missing a couple of collaboration features in the free plan as opposed to the paid plan. But most of the writing options are there. So let's go ahead and jump over to a dashboard. I already have logged in to the account I made, and it comes with Alice in Wonderland as a sample project, so you can kind of look and see how the software works and play around with it a bit. And then I started another project here called Resurgence, so you see there's 2 projects. I can open one of these just by clicking on it, and it goes into one of your other views. Now you have an outline view and a manuscript view, so let's look at the manuscript view. And the manuscript view has the story written out in one big document, and to the left you'll see your list of chapters. You can use that chapter list to jump around in your story. On the right side you'll see a sidebar that has your scenes, and the scene you're currently in will be highlighted. So as you jump around, what is shown in your sidebar, what's highlighted here, is different. You have some different modes. You can collapse this sidebar, and you can go into this focus mode, which kind of cleans up your screen and lets you focus on your writing. And you also have a dark view for that. You have a view that has notes, and you have your outline view, and your outline view has two different options. There's the chapter outline view and the plot outline view. The chapter outline view shows a horizontal list of all of your chapters that you can scroll left and right through, and it shows all your scenes for that story underneath the chapter in these little cards, and you can drag and drop scenes between your various chapters and move them around, and that's a way you can move big chunks of your text around in your document. You can also hide the descriptions of the scene and only have the headings. Or you can go to this plot outline view, which shows your story in a vertical column and your scenes in a vertical column. And you can create these plot lines. I added a couple here. And you can just move your scenes around in your plot lines wherever they need to go by clicking. And up here in the corner, you'll see your word count for the project and your export to your Google Drive option. You can also set your goal for how many words you would like to get written each day, your writing goal. I have it set to 1,000 here, so whenever I'm on my dashboard, it shows my writing goal and it shows how much I've written. I haven't written anything today. If I go into this project here, and maybe I come in here and I type something, you'll see my words typed increases, and this is for any of the projects that you are working on. It is not per project, just overall words for the day. So that is basically what First Draft Pro has. There does not seem to be a lot of help available in the software itself. I did find, however, on YouTube a good little video called Everything You Need to Know About Writing a Book with First Draft Pro, and the maker of this video did a really good job at showing you all the different features of the software. So if you're thinking of using First Draft Pro, it's worth taking a look at this video. So that is the first of the softwares we are going to be looking at today. So if you're interested, that is First Draft Pro, available at www.firstdraftpro.com, and there will be a link in the description for this video. So let's go ahead and add that to the list of softwares we looked at, and let's jump right on into the next one, and that is a Papyrus Author. Now, Papyrus Author is a little bit different than some of the others we've been looking at. Papyrus Author is not a web-based software, but rather a downloadable software that you can use on your actual computer. There is a version for PC and for Mac, so it runs on either one of those. There is a free plan. A few years back, Papyrus Author was only a paid software, but now they do have a free plan that has some limitations, but the majority of what Papyrus Author has to offer is available in the free plan. You can get to the software by going to papyrusauthor.com and simply downloading it, and we'll take a look at that here shortly. And whenever you want to get your document out of Papyrus Author, there's various export formats, including Word and PDF, and creating ebooks and a lot of other options as well. So let's look at their webpage as to what they offer in their plan and their pricing. And here it is. This is Papyrus Author, the free version versus the paid version. We're going to look at those features here. For the writing section, basically you have everything in the free version that you have in the paid or plus version, except for some customization as far as backgrounds and a few options having to do with creating goals and deadlines for your story. Then down in the story building section, here is where you start seeing some of the limitations. They have character sheets, item sheets, and location sheets for tracking various things in your story. And with the free plan, you are limited to 4 of each of these types of sheets. You also only get one of their think boards, which are sort of a brainstorming board. And that one think board is limited to only 40 elements on there. And we'll take a look at what those think boards are here shortly. You also only get 5 research entries, and you only get a timeline that can manage to show you 2 of your story arcs. So if you have a main story and then maybe just a romance plot thread running through that, then the 2 different story arcs are probably fine. If you have a much more detailed type of story you're trying to write, such as something like the Game of Thrones has, where there's multiple characters, multiple storylines going on at one time, then the free version probably would not have enough to actually track all those different story arcs. In your planning section, you have the navigator, scenes, and timestamps. That's the same for both. But with the free version, the organizer will only show up to 20 of your major story elements, where the paid version has an unlimited view of those. And you are also limited on their pin boards, on how many of those you get in the free version. So most of your writing methods are still there, and quite a bit of the other planning and story building options are there. So there's enough there that you can get a good feel of what this software offers, and you can do quite a bit of work with the software. So I have already downloaded and installed the software, and I've been playing around with it. So let's go ahead and open that up and take a look at what Papyrus Author has to offer us. Here is the Papyrus Author software. And when you come into it, they do give you a few documents already. They give you the welcome guide, a version of a story, Tarzan of the Apes, that you can look at, and their manual are already included. And here I've played around with a couple things the other day. But let's go ahead and first look at what they have to help you learn this software, because it is quite a bit more detailed than First Draft Pro was, or many of the others that we've looked at. And they have their learning tab here, which gives you links to a bunch of different videos about the different features of the software, as well as their manual and some introductory information here. Plus, if you look here, they also have a manual listed as one of their documents, and we'll just bring that up here. Here is what their manual looks like, and it goes through all the different features that you have about starting a story and creating ebooks, and there is a lot of information on how to use this software in their manual. So let's go ahead and start a new project, and you can do that from this home screen. So let's minimize that one. And you have a bunch of templates that basically handle the general layout of the document. So I'm going to create one that's just a universal writing project for the US here. And it has a place where I can put the path of where I want to store the documents. I can browse to a location if I need to. So I'll just save it right there, that's fine. And you can just go ahead and give it a name. I'll just call it testing things. Oops, I have my capitalization off, but that's fine. And I'll just create this new project. And when it creates the project, it gives you a couple of chapters to get you started. And you have a pinboard over here to the right here. You can see it says pinboard. And on this pinboard, you can go do things like add notes onto it. And you can also give the notes different colors. Basically, things you want to keep track of, you can put over there on your pinboard. Right here is where you can write your chapter, and you can go move around by simply clicking your chapters. Whenever you're first starting your document, you can come up here to document and go to your document properties. And here's where you can fill out the name for your book. And you can maybe give it a subtitle, put in the author. You can put your published year if you were editing a book that you previously published, or if you want to put the published date whenever you're ready to actually publish it, you can put that there. And there's a lot of other front matter you can put here, copyright, information about fonts and rights, and you simply apply that there, close it. And if I scroll on up to my cover page, you'll see it changed the name to what I typed, Things That Go Bump, and a novel, and by the author. And it gives me my word count for my project right here, all sort of laid out for me. When I want to type something, I can simply go to my chapter, jump right in here, and start typing. As easy as that. So that's really easy to do. You'll see it already formats with having the headings and page numbers up there at the top. Down here at the bottom, you'll see some options for turning on and off your spell checking and some other features like your readability analysis and your style analysis, which I'm not worried about at this particular time. It gives me my word count down here at the very bottom as well. And it also gives me my navigator here to the right, which I can close if I want to, or I can turn it on. And you have some toolbars up here, and you have some options with the toolbars. I can right click up here, and you can see I have some various options with my toolbars. I can go to a standard toolbar or a just right toolbar. My novel writing toolbar. And these little icons can give you different things. Right here is a place where you can start developing your characters. Now, this character table is a window that will float around on its own. So right there. So if I had multiple screens, I could easily float this table off to another page. It has a default character here. Let's go ahead and open that. And it shows you what a character record looks like. Now, in the free version, as it said, you are limited to 4 of these character records that are like this, that are fully filled out. So you see you can have the purpose and motivation, appearance, characteristics. If I expand this, Here's more personality, background, social, and you can fill out all these different things about your character. You have a picture here you can use, and you can also give your character a little icon that it will use in various places in the software, just to help remind you that that character is appearing in various scenes and things like that. So this is the character sheet, and I can go ahead and create new ones. Save the changes to this one. And whoops, here we go. And I can give another character. And whenever you give a character name, you can actually give them multiple names. Maybe the character is mostly referred to as John, but in some places he's referred to as JJ or John Boy. And you can use these various names, and the software will be able to pick them up no matter what name you use. Here I could go ahead and fill out the motivation and appearance and gender and the age, and go ahead and save that. And I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple more characters here, just so you can see what happens when we exceed the 4 limit. And here we go. As you see now, there is a lock which tells me that in the free version I cannot add any more character sheets. I can, however, go ahead and add characters if I'm only using it to track like their names. So I could put Billy as a character, and also maybe add Tom as a character, and they still are listed, but I can't fully fill out that character form for them. I can only list them in this database. Now from this page here, I can also get to other databases for other items as well as the characters. So I can go to a table, and I have an items table. And here we have an item that is a hand axe that they have available here. And you see there's a full sheet that explains what this particular item is. This is good if you have perhaps a special item in your story that you're trying to keep track of where it is, who has it. Maybe you have a fantasy novel that has a fancy crown or a sword, and you're trying to keep track of who has this item, where it came from, and information about it. Then you can use these item sheets to keep track of those specialized items. And in the free version, you get 4 of those. You also have a database for locations. And for the locations, you can give them a name and a description and some of the significance here. And again, you can have 4 of them in the free version. So if you have specific locations that it's very important to have different details about, maybe a crime scene, and you want to make sure you have details about your crime scene, then you could use one of these type of charts in this software. If you are using the paid version, you can actually make custom forms for your various items and things. But in the free version, you get their default template, and you only get 4 of them for those particular types of items. So let's go ahead and close the character database, and let's look at one more thing. This chapter 2, if I was writing here and I started to mention some of the characters, Billy and JJ, went to see the clerk. And let me go ahead and put JJ as 2 J's there. And you see in this software, it knows that Billy is a character, so it highlights it. And it knows JJ is a character, and it highlights it. And you can just mouse over there, get their character sheet, and get right into that information about the character. making it really convenient if you want to go ahead and add some more information as you develop your story, or to refer back to information you already know about the character. To add a new chapter, I can simply come over here, click, and say new chapter after or before. And there we have another chapter. I can name the chapter, or I can just come down here and I can start writing. Was waiting for Billy and John. And here I use the name John instead of JJ, but it brings up the same character sheet because John and JJ are the same person. And it also highlighted Susan, and she was one of the other characters we had on the list. Along with this, you have your organizer, and the organizer will show you all of your chapters. It shows you the story thread it belongs to, and it will identify information about the characters that appear or are mentioned in the chapter. So you see we mentioned Billy and John, and they're both listed there. And it also gives you the number of words for each of these chapters. And you can add an abstract about each of your chapters. So if chapter 3, I wanted to say that this is where things start to go wrong. And I apologize if you can hear those jets flying over. They are a little bit noisy, but I cannot stop them. So there, I added an abstract and I apply that. And now you see that shows up on this database that is showing my various chapters. You also have a think board, and here is what a think board is. You get one of these with the free version. So this is the think board, and right now I just have a circle there, so let's go ahead and delete that think board. And you get to choose a template. There are some templates available for these think boards, or you can just freeform it yourself. But let's go ahead and use one of the templates they have available. You only get one of these with the free version, but you have some options. You have the hero's journey, romance, crime fiction, thriller, 3-act structure, conflict, this cluster version, and then you have some for nonfiction and your own personal templates. If you had the paid version, you could do your own custom templates. So perhaps the story we are writing, we want to do it through has a thriller. We could simply click thriller, say create, and it fills out this think board with some of the basics that we need, and we can come in here and zoom in and fill out these different items. The clock, what creates my urgency in my story. I could go ahead and answer that. The approach of a killing storm. I could go ahead and add information about the settings, the different twists that occur. I could put some information about my protagonist and my antagonist, their weaknesses, their strengths. This can help me to define my story a little bit on this think board. You also have, as I said, your timeline, and here's the timeline. And the timeline will show all your chapters. and it will show any scenes that occur in your story. So let's go back here real quick, and we'll just create a new scene here in chapter 3. New scene, and here we create a scene where Susan hides the supplies. And in chapter 2, we can go ahead and come up here and add a scene there. JJ shoots the clerk. And then if we look at our timeline again, here are our 2 scenes. And you can zoom out or zoom in on your timeline. And you do have the ability to move your scenes around right here. There we go. And here we created our second thread just by putting something underneath. Maybe this second one is the romance or a conflict thread, and this is the actual main story. So that's what the timeline kind of looks like. But there's a lot to learn about how to use this software. It's not something you can just jump in and start using right away. You have to kind of figure out how to use all the different pieces. But there is a lot of power behind it, and it is available as a free software with those limitations that we mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and that is Papyrus Author. If you want to learn more about Papyrus Author and look at some of those videos, many of those training videos are available on YouTube, and you can just go look and watch some of those. I will try to add some links in the description to this video so that you can take a better look at Papyrus Author. And that is the second of the softwares we wanted to look at. So we'll just go ahead and take Papyrus Author and add that to the list of software that's available for writers for under that $60 price. And those 2 that we've added today do fall into that free category. So they are well within budget limits if you are strapped for cash, which many people that are trying to write a book are. So that is our video for today. Hopefully one of these softwares will work for you. There are many more to look at this year, and my whole purpose of these is simply to let you know that there are options out there and to kind of give you a first look at them so you can explore which ones might work best for you. Come back later next month for a couple of more softwares that are available for writers for under $60.